Now to a News 6 investigation. Orlando police officers may have been accidentally trained to violate your rights, and we have it in writing.
We've uncovered major flaws in the current training material every officer had to read and sign off on. Investigator Mike Holfeld found out the biggest critic is the attorney trusted to train officers for more than 20 years, Mike.
That's right, the very person hired to review it. Good evening, everyone. The bulletin is one tool used by officers in the field as a sort of a guide, so they don't violate your rights. The problem is this bulletin has mistakes, a lot of them, and even OPD's top brass admits it has to be fixed.
The attorney hired to edit and update OPD's training bulletin says the version handed over to the city's police officers is a liability. In a memo obtained by News 6, attorney Leanne Freeman writes, "It is personally and professionally painful to see that work undone and to witness the dissemination of misinformation to hundreds of sworn officers. This is such a high liability area." She's talking about mistakes like this. Police have probable cause for an arrest when a person is about to commit a crime. In other words, before a crime is committed.
Hopefully police officers are smart enough to know that that has to be a mistake, but young police officers who aren't sure what's going on, they're not sure what decision to make, they're going to refer to this and think to themselves, well, I can arrest them.
Because I'm anticipating a crime.
If they don't have the correct information, it's putting civilians' freedom and liberty at risk, and it's putting defendants at potential risk. It's also putting law enforcement officers at risk.
Orlando attorney Lyle Mazin has been defending clients for a decade. He shares the retired OPD lawyer's concerns, including when an officer has the right to collect evidence with or without a warrant.
All that evidence they collected could be thrown out.
Or when a police officer should check your ID.
It is telling police officers that they're encouraged to ask passengers in vehicles for their identification. A passenger in a vehicle, short of being probable cause that he's committing a crime, has absolutely no obligation to identify themselves to a police officer.
Mazin said that's just a few examples of pages of problems, including old law, misinformation, omissions, and inaccuracies that he could potentially use to get cases dismissed. They're all errors that could have been fixed months ago. Freeman sent in a corrected bulletin to OPD back in February, but in April, OPD emails obtained by News 6 show the department sent out an outdated version filled with problems and, incredibly, required all officers to read and sign it.
The significance of signing off on this thing just shows how important it is.
So why did it happen? Consider this email. Perhaps it got lost in cyberspace or in my inbox. I wouldn't rule out human error on my part. That's what Deputy City Attorney Jody Litchford wrote in an email sending the corrected training bulletin to the person in charge of issuing it. The updated bulletin was found, but only after News 6 filed a public records request asking for it.
The stuff that retired attorney put into this training bulletin, she did great work. I mean, OPD paid for great work, and they got great work, but they just didn't use it.
We tried to get Police Chief John Mina to sit down with us and explain what went wrong. He declined, but his staff sent us a statement saying OPD does do other training and updates on the law besides training bulletins, and that information is correct.
This one's kind of a head-scratcher here, and as of tonight, that bulletin is still inaccurate?
As we speak, OPD says they are working to update the training bulletin issued in April, but gave us no timetable on when that will happen. We leave the invitation open to the chief. Love to hear from him.
All right, fascinating stuff. Mike Holfeld,
Thank you.
We have posted both training bulletins, by the way, on clickorlando.com so you can see for yourself. Just look under top stories.